Hi everybody, welcome back. It's Amanda, Ridout Health Coach. We are back with our favorite pharmacist, nutritionist, and cosmetic chemist, Ben Fuchs. And Ben, today we're going to talk about oily skin because we've had so many questions. Based on our dry skin video, people want to know what to do with oily skin, how to clean it, how to nutrify it. So what do you have for us?
Okay, well, first of all, what exactly is oily skin? What exactly is skin oil? Technically, skin oil is called sebum, and sebum is made up of various components. One component is something called squalene. Squalene is like a vitamin A substance, similar to vitamin A. It's made up of fatty acids, and it's made up of cholesterol, and it's made up of something called wax esters. Wax esters are similar to jojoba oil, if you've heard of jojoba oil. And the whole complex is called sebum. Sebum's got multiple functions. Number one, it helps hydrate the skin. It helps moisturize the skin. It's got antimicrobial properties. It's got anti-inflammatory properties. It's even got sun protection properties. It's a natural sunscreen. It's involved in wound healing. It's very functional stuff. The problem is that there are certain biochemical situations, biochemical circumstances that can cause sebum to become secreted in abundant amounts. In excessive amounts, I should say. So when we talk about oily skin, what we're talking about is hypersecretion of sebum. Technically, that's called seborrhea. Sebum is very functional stuff, but when it's hypersecreted, that's where you run into problems. So what is it that causes hypersecretion of sebum? Well, there's two major factors. Number one is sugar and insulin, the hormone insulin that's associated with sugar. And number two, male hormones, testosterone specifically, but actually it's a derivative or a breakdown product of testosterone called DHT. You may have heard of DHT. It's associated with a lot of male problems, it's associated with prostate issues, it's associated with male pattern baldness, but it also has a role to play in the hypersecretion, the excessive secretion of acne. Now I should tell you, or of sebum, I should tell you that when I say male hormones, I don't want people to think, well, I'm a woman, so I don't have male hormones, or I'm a woman and it's a bad thing that I've got male hormones. We call them male hormones. We just mean that these things are predominant in men, but it doesn't mean that women don't secrete testosterone and women don't have have issues with the breakdown product of testosterone called DHT. Dihydrotestosterone. So those are your two issues that you want to deal with if you're dealing with excessive secretion of sebum. You want to work on your blood sugar and you want to work on the male hormone system. So what do you do? Well, first of all, there are wonderful nutrients that you can take that help you stabilize your sugar and help protect insulin. Number one, chromium and vanadium. That's the sweeties from Youngevity. Chromium in particular has a wonderful role to play in helping the body process sugar. Chromium is part of something called the glucose tolerance factor. And the glucose tolerance factor is a complex of molecules that involves chromium as well as the B vitamin niacin. And it turns out that niacin's got a very interesting role to play in protecting the skin from excessive secretion of sebum. One of my all-time favorite anti-sebum or sebum slowing down supplements is vitamin B5, pantothenic acid. Now, this is one you don't hear a lot about. Pantothenic acid is involved in in a lot of fatty chemistry in the body. It's very important for the production of steroid hormones. Women benefit from vitamin B5 if they're dealing with menopausal symptoms, and vitamin B5 is probably the most powerful of all of the anti-sebum nutrients. Okay. It's important to recognize that whenever you take one B vitamin in excess amounts or in high amounts like B5, you always want to take it with the entire B complex. So if you're going to dose with B5, make sure you're taking the entire B complex. Omega-6 fatty acids are also important. It turns out that when sebum is produced in large amounts, it can become sticky, especially under conditions of deficiencies in omega-6 fatty acids. It's not so much that omega-6 fatty acids will slow down the production of sebum, but it will thin the sebum. So the sebum is not as thick and not as predisposed to clog the pores. Probably the all-time greatest and most important skin nutrient, and also probably the most important skin male hormone nutrient, is zinc. Now, zinc plays two very important roles when it comes to sebum production. Number one, it's very important for the skin. Zinc is actually stored in the skin. It's important for healing of the skin. It has sun protection properties. Zinc is also important for helping control the conversion of testosterone to DHT. sort of slows down the production of DHT. It's said to be a DHT inhibitor. So zinc plays two very important roles in helping slow down sebum production. I like zinc picolinate. That's a very specialized form of zinc. It's easier on the stomach, and I get much better results with zinc picolinate than I do with other other forms of zinc. Vitamin A is stupendously important. In fact, if zinc is the most important mineral for the skin, and the most important mineral for helping control sebum, vitamin A is probably the most important vitamin for the skin, and vitamin A plays a very important role in helping slow down the secretion of sebum. Vitamin A, as it turns out, is similar to the squalene that is actually a constituent of sebum. So in a way, vitamin A, and we'll talk about this here when we talk about topical strategies, vitamin A actually can support the production of sebum at the same time as it helps slow down its secretion. So it has multiple roles to play when it comes to sebaceous health. And this is why we say that vitamin A is a normalizer. So if you're making too much of something in the skin, vitamin A can slow down the production. For example, if your skin cells are growing too fast, vitamin A can slow down the production of skin cells. If you're making too much sebum, vitamin A can kind of slow down the production of sebum. On the other hand, if you're not making enough sebum, or if your skin cells aren't dividing rapidly enough, vitamin A can speed that up. We call vitamin A a normalizer because it can pull the ups down and it can pull the downs up. It has a balancing effect. Selenium, another really, really important nutrient for the skin, also helps suppress the production of excessive sebum. And selenium also has antioxidant properties, and this is very interesting because just like it's not only excessive secretion of sebum that's a problem, and just like it's not only thickened sebum that's a problem, another issue is oxidized sebum that has actually turned rancid. And selenium, in addition to helping stabilize and suppress the production of excessive sebum, selenium can actually protect sebum from oxidizing or turning rancid. Another nutrient that works this way is vitamin E. Vitamin E is probably sebum's most important protector, and vitamin E synergizes with selenium, so using vitamin E can be very important too. And then there's a really, really cool essential fatty acid derivative. It's actually an omega-6 derivative called GLA. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of GLA. Love GLA. It's found in omega-6 fats. There's GLA in the Longevity Ultimate EFAs and EFA Plus. GLA has got really multiple benefits. It does act as a DHT suppressor. It's also great as an anti-inflammatory. It can be effective for women who are dealing with menstrual problems. Again, it can help with PCOS syndrome, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and it also is a DHT inhibitor. Then you come to the topical strategies, and there's a lot of really cool topical strategies. One of the most important topical anti-sebum ingredients is retinol, vitamin A. For the same reason that we talked about earlier. Vitamin A has a suppressant effect on sebum. Vitamin A actually can help suppress the cells that make sebum. And then if you use retinol topically, you get wonderful anti-aging effects in addition to the anti-sebaceous effects. Retinol is just an all-around skin tonic, and there's really no skin that doesn't benefit from a dose of retinol, at least once a week or once every 10 days. But if you're producing lots of oils, or you're predisposed to breaking out, you have acne, using retinol twice a week, 3 times a week can really have a dramatic beneficial effect. If you go retinol, you want to go 5%, and that's where my Truth Retinol Gel comes from, or that's where I came up with the dose. Aloe vera is a wonderful way to help slow up sebaceous secretions and remove sebum from the skin once it's already there. You know, a lot of these strategies that we talked about involve slowing down the secretion of sebum. But removing sebum from the skin once it's there is also important because sebum oxidizes once it's on the skin and actually turns rancid once it's on the skin, especially if you're deficient in vitamin E and selenium and other antioxidants. So keeping sebum off of the face is very important if you're secreting high amounts of it. Sebum also can be pro-inflammatory, so it can exacerbate pimples, exacerbate the formation of zits. So keeping sebum off of the face is just as important as slowing down its production. And aloe vera is a great way to dissolve sebum right off the skin. Aloe vera contains beta-hydroxy acid. It contains salicylic acid. It also has zinc in it. So it's a wonderful skin tonic anyway, a straight aloe vera gel. But in the case of sebaceous secretions, it can help remove them very effectively.
So, Ben, let me ask you this. For aloe vera, Do you recommend having a plant and extracting a gel, or is
Love
it just
that.
the same? Is it just the same to go buy it at the store?
Make sure it's pure. Make sure it's not homogenized or
Okay.
pasteurized. Make sure it's cold pressed, you know. But yeah, having the plant is great.
It is,
You
yeah,
break
it
open the plant. You always want, when you're working with aloe vera, you always want to expose the plant to the air for a little bit.
Okay.
There's a reaction that occurs between the air and some of the compounds in the aloe that activates it.
Okay.
So you break it and you expose it to air. Topical fucoidin can help. Putting fucoidin right on your skin has anti-sebaceous effects. The seaweed contains polysaccharides, including fucoidin. These polysaccharides have an anti-sebaceous effect.
Wonderful. Hey, everybody, you can find Ben's treatments at truthtreatments.com. And when you enter the code, have the truth and the number 2, have the truth 2, you get a 10% discount. And you're going to love the products. You're going to love what it does to your skin. And when you couple that with the inside nutrition, it just takes everything to a whole new level. Ben, thank you so much for sharing with us.
Good to talk to you again.
Good to talk to you, and we'll be back with more later. So stay tuned, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, Amanda.
Bye.